Hey, what do you do for a living?
I do property.
Yeah? I do property.
This is my new 3-bed apartment in the fantastic historic city of Cardiff, capital city of Wales, nonetheless.
What is it, rent to rent?
So
I'm just
it's a rent to
guessing.
rent, mate,
Okay.
yes,
Do
it's,
you mind if I take a look around?
No, absolutely not. Sorry, we're closed.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, Come on in. Come on in. What's the caterpillar? So excuse the state of the place, we're still kind of finishing touches and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So it's still a working house.
So this is very much live. You're intending to get it live in the next couple of days,
in the
aren't you?
next 48 hours, mate, this place is going live.
Yeah, so what is it? It's a 3-bed.
It's a 3-bed apartment, city centre of Cardiff, complete with parking. This lovely city of Cardiff is beautiful, about 6 minutes walk from the city centre.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so what are you paying in rent?
£12.50 a month. It cost me around 200, give or take 30 quid, 40 quid maybe.
Or in utilities, yeah.
Give or take in utilities, council
Nice.
tax. This is great. This is. I was going to keep this open and get a little lock cupboard in there for the cleaner, for supplies and stuff. But what we're actually just going to lock that off.
Yeah, perfect for
If
the
any of my
cleaner.
guests need a washer dryer, then we'll open it up for them.
Yeah.
But this is going to be the cleaner's cupboard.
The linen.
Tea,
Yeah.
coffee, stuff like that, supplies. Got a little snuggy area in there just for people to chill out or whatever if they want. First room, well, second room technically. This first one we can
Yeah, it looks great.
This was the pink room I was telling you about. So from here down, just this really horrible grotty pink, bit like your t-shirt. No, I'm joking. Yeah, it was minging. So I have a little bedroom.
Yep.
In time, I might put bunk beds in the other room as well. We don't know yet.
Okay.
So let's come on.
Walk us through this bedroom.
This is yellow room.
What did it look like before?
So it was a kind of really, again, we had, I'm going to call it dark ugly, this purpley, grey, white. That's the colour I've given it, dark ugly.
Yeah.
And it was this kind of, it's like a mustard, but orangier. It's just, it wasn't very nice.
So all you've had to do is chuck in a new feature wall.
Yeah, new feature wall, uplifted it, matching curtains, matching throw. I've got some scattered cushions to go down as well at some point. Bit of artwork, air freshener. Easy done.
Done.
Whitewashed everything, whitewashed the whole thing. So this is the main bedroom, the master room. It's our green room, as we call it.
How did it look before?
It was green, but again, it had dark ugly on these 3 walls. And it was just a real dark green. Wasn't very warm, wasn't very homely.
So you've chucked in, that's a really rich
Whitewashed it, brought a brighter green in, decorated it, deep cleaned it, new curtains, new lampshades. A bit easier for the cleaner to clean as well, cuts the cleaning costs down a bit, decorated it.
Yeah, it looks awesome, man. Go for
So
it.
this, we haven't really had a new toilet seat, new toilet brush and thing. Just cleaning this. There's a lot of damp and kind of mould in the grouting, so we re-grouted a lot of it and cleaned it up. But generally, this room's probably been the easiest room to do so far. This is my buddy Georgia.
Hello.
Absolute powerhouse. Actually, similarly to me, she's had a really rough journey as well, and she's seen this place and it's really inspired her. But I couldn't have done this last week without you. It's been amazing.
Thank you. I was worried you were going to take all the credit.
I am.
Are you?
I am, yeah.
Thanks.
You might go over there and,
Well, that's all right. You can
Georgia,
take credit for
I have to
that
give
as well.
credit to George's boyfriend as well, Adam, because he jumped on a train from Plymouth and came up to help me, and I've known the guy a month. So yeah,
That's incredible.
kudos to him.
So how did we meet?
How did we meet? Wow, this is quite a fun story actually, isn't it? It was Christmas 2019,
Yep.
week before Christmas, and I was on another training course, wasn't I, with another training provider.
Yeah.
And we used to have weekly webinars every Wednesday. And this one particular Wednesday, something had happened and nobody rocked up. We basically said, well, if nobody's going to go, shall we host our own Zoom? I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So Patricia disappeared and Gemma disappeared, and they invited a couple of people in. I opened up the Zoom room, and that became a Wednesday night. Was it Wednesday night thing? It was a Wednesday night thing.
But then all of a sudden I had a Zoom call from my phone.
From your point of view, yeah.
And I was like, what is this?
Right.
So I was like, okay. So I was in the kitchen.
It's completely randomly.
And usually I don't answer cold calls completely. But I was like, let's just see what this is about. And answering that Zoom invitation changed my whole life.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't it?
It's mental. That became our network.
And you could argue you answering that Zoom call has now changed mine as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's mad. So that's how we met.
Yeah.
He was part of another network. I got invited to a Zoom because I guess everyone thought I was an academy member.
I think they did, didn't they? Because
Yeah,
you were just about breaking into property then. Anyway.
Yeah, I was just networking. I was a networking.
Who was it that
ninja.
invited you?
Patricia.
Was it Patricia?
Yeah.
Yes, Patricia.
Yeah. So after that Zoom, I did say like I'm not part of that network.
Yeah.
I won't feel insulted if you don't want to invite me again. But yeah,
I tried to get him not to.
I completely understand.
I was like, everyone's wicked, but I'm not too sure about that, Kenny.
Yeah.
No, it was, wasn't it? And I think on that Zoom, we kind of talked about property stuff. We just put the worlds to rights, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be an hour and a half, and we ended up talking to like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Every Thursday.
I think it was every Thursday. That was it. And it was, we all just clicked. Yeah, everything just clicked into place, didn't it? Like the business talk, the friendship, we just all...
It was almost like mindset development, like preparing ourselves mentally for what's about to come.
Completely. And then the cool...
Because you live down my way, don't you?
Well, that was the big thing for you, with me and you as well.
Because there's no one down our way.
In Dorset, it's tough. And I mean, Weymouth, where I live, was once called the graveyard of ambition, wasn't it, by the papers, by the media.
Right.
They called, well, Dorset generally was called the graveyard of ambition, where people go to retire and die. and actually,
it's a slow-paced, comfortable life.
It is, because I think we live by the sea. We live in such a beautiful place that you can kind of just put up with the shit because you live in a beautiful place.
So for me, it was really important to have you half an hour away. There's not many people in your current lifestyle that want to have the conversations you want to have, you know, and we were very much on the same page.
There's no one. I bore everybody with my business talk, with my property talk, and I've had conversations in the early days when I was sourcing. I used to start talking about property, and everyone in the room would roll their eyes, like, oh, here he goes again. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm boring the room. I'm actually boring people. They don't want to hear about this.
Let's walk through your story then. So walk us through exactly what happened leading on from 2019 Christmas to the next 6 months.
Okay, well, we all threw ourselves at it, didn't we?
Yeah.
We all threw ourselves completely all in, 150% every day. I was working for the NHS at the time as well. I was working for the crisis and home treatment team as a mental health worker. And that was really tough going. That was hard going. It was a great job, really rewarding. I loved it, but it was a job. And anybody who works for the NHS will be completely on board with the fact that actually, you know, the reason I left the NHS in the end is because I was on a lower wage after 9.5 years of service than I was when I started off with them.
Right. Yeah.
And I was living in a shared house. I had a room when I was doing all the sourcing stuff. I had nothing. I just recovered from homelessness.
Did that affect your mindset? The fact that you were living in a HMO, trying to build a business, were you getting imposter syndrome?
Hugely. Still do. Even though we're sat in my Airbnb now, in my property, I'm still, it doesn't feel real.
Still pinching yourself.
And yeah, I mean, I was a foster kid as well. Georgia and I were chatting. Georgia's been helping me refurb the place. I was a foster kid. When you grow up through foster care, I've had this chat with Dave Smith as well, who's my coach for a while. When you grow up in foster care, everything, you get imposter syndrome over everything. I said to Georgia when I got the keys for this place, we walked up and I was like, foster kids aren't supposed to be able to get here.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be statistics, you know. So for me to have actually been able to get a set of keys in my hand is phenomenal.
I'll tell you what, the moment I first met you on the Zoom, and you were talking, I think you know, people were taking it in turns to talk. And when you were talking, I was like, God, this guy's a big cheese. Like, you come across as a, you know, big cheese. Do you know what big cheese?
I love cheddar. I'm a massive cheese.
Yeah, so I thought, you know, I was in part of this Zoom as like, you know, these are the big players of the academy, and so.
We weren't
ended up being the big.
We were. We ended up being a household name in the property industry for a while, didn't we?
So okay, so you left the NHS. Then what happened?
Yeah, I left to. This is the thing, because of the imposter syndrome, because in the back of my head, constantly is this life's not for you. You're not worthy of this life. Constantly, there's a fighting those demons all the time, and that caused me a lot of issues. And as well, on top of that, I think from a logistical point of view, living, eating, sleeping. I was working from home at the time. Sorry, I'm going to get rid of them. I was working from home at the time as well. Everything out of one room. And I'm trying to set a business up from that room as well.
I don't know why I feel like laughing. Sorry, I'll get rid of it.
I hate him. I hate my phone. So, and like you say, on top of that, this life's not for you. This isn't something for you. It was next to impossible to push through those barriers, to be honest. And I have to say, like, I've said it quite openly to you. I've said it to the others from the A-team. The Property A-team, which was the group.
Yeah, our network.
I genuinely believe if it wasn't for you guys at the time, because there were a lot of people that kind of superficially believed in me.
Oh, 100%. Likewise. If it wasn't for our network that we created, I wouldn't be where I am.
Because there were those days where it doesn't go well, isn't it? There are those days where you're just like, nah.
You feel like giving up. I had imposter syndrome. Trying to build a rent-to-rent business. No experience whatsoever. Barely any savings, and you're talking to estate agents.
Yeah.
You deem them like the ultimate gatekeeper of properties, and they're really not.
No, they're not, are they?
No, they're just another middleman.
Yeah, completely.
They're not the decision makers. But as a new business, you put them as gatekeepers, and because you don't really understand what you're saying,
right.
You kind of just got to trust the process, and that was how I was content with the whole process, is trust the process. I ain't got a clue what I'm doing. I'm going to learn.
You went off quick, though.
I did go off quick.
You did go off. How many calls was it for you?
244.
244.
But then again, I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, I own a training school. My journey...
But you weren't then.
No. But what I'm saying is my journey was relentless.
That's the one thing you've always inspired me with that.
And
because
to be
fair, when you say, I'm going to do this... Nothing else, apart from your family.
Nothing stops
your wife and your kids.
Yeah.
But apart from that, there's nothing else in your life until that's achieved.
And that's how a coach should be, though.
Yeah,
their journey should be relentless. The best. Still to this day, none of my students are as successful as I have been.
Yeah,
and that's the right way round. Yet.
Yet. there's a bar for everyone to hit, isn't there?
But that is the right way round. So,
yeah.
So every mentor you sign up to, my theory is, I'll be better than you. Not from an arrogant
You outgrow
stance.
your coach.
Outgrow your coach.
Yeah, that's cool.
And everybody should aim for the same, because ultimately if you aim for that, you're going to succeed anyway.
Yeah. And we'll move on to this in a bit, but actually being one of your coaches as well, it's really put the rocket up my backside because I know I've got to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
I know I've got to stay ahead of the game with everybody else. I've got to stay at least one lesson ahead, and it's really, like I said, we'll go into it later, but that's been a massive turning point for me as well.
Yeah, before we get to that, you dropped right off the cliff, didn't you? Massive network, right? Zooming every Thursday, fast forward X amount of months, maybe a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then Chris just, gone.
So, yeah, I did, didn't I? So like I say, at the time, living in the shared house, I'm working for the NHS, really high pressure job. I actually changed jobs within the NHS and I went into psychological therapies. And that was the point where the service put a glass ceiling over my head. So I'm working tirelessly all hours to try and meet the demands of my day job.
Yeah.
With absolutely no thanks, absolutely no reward. And what I came to learn, yeah, absolutely. And what I came to realise later, especially for anybody who's worked in public services will know, when you're doing all right, nobody cares. When you start to struggle, you'll be on a performance review, you'll be on management, you have management breathing down your neck. They'll be on you because you've got people's lives in your hands. At the end of the day, you don't get to ease off. You've got to keep the throttle on, But then if you start struggling, they're all on you. If you recover from that and you start to do well, dare I say it, sometimes some people go the extra mile and you work a bit harder for your patients and the people you're there to serve. And when you do well, they're like, oh, you've caught up, well done, here's another caseload. Here's a load more work.
Yeah.
And then you're just drowning again.
Yeah.
And you're fighting to catch up, and then they give you more work. And that's how public services works. Mm-hmm. And I get the impression probably most jobs out there, I know corporate's not too dissimilar from that, the corporate world.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's a job. And there's never any massive reward when you're earning someone else's money or when you're working in public service, there's no recognition for what you do. Occasionally you get...
Yeah.
So...
I mean, it depends if you're looking for it. I'm never really one to see... I'm not saying you were, but what I'm saying is I read a book, 10X by Grant Cardone,
Beautiful.
right? And I just took that book and applied it to everything in my life. So building my business, just do all you can until you burn out, and don't burn out.
Yeah.
Even in your job, go in, what are you going to do for the evening? I wrote it all down on a whiteboard, like a tick box, because I worked on my own in the evenings, right? So like, right, this needs doing, this needs doing, this needs doing, this needs doing. And I just hit into it until it's done. I wouldn't take a break. Do it all, done. It'd be like 4 hours of work that would have taken...
You're proud?
Okay. Of the whiteboard.
The whiteboard.
Yeah, it's a very nice whiteboard.
Thank you.
You got a green and red magnet as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, I'm working around the clock to try and meet the demands of the service. Work burnt me out. And on top of this, bear in mind as well, now we've got COVID. We're in lockdown.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? So everything changed. And I mean, I was going into people's homes for 2 months through lockdown 1. The whole team were going into people's homes to help them out with their mental health. And we didn't have any masks. We didn't have any gloves. We had no PPE. And we're being told that you've got to do all of this because otherwise you're going to die. Nobody's allowed out. It was a really weird time. We all carried on, but it was weird, isn't it? I don't remember how we did it, but we did.
Yeah, it's all a bit...
Because everybody
fuzzy.
in the 18, we kept pushing.
Yeah.
Just because we were in lockdown,
COVID didn't stop us.
No, it made us drive even harder. A lot of us. Any spare time I got at all, I was getting up at 6 in the morning. I was searching through properties. I was ringing agents, emailing agents, trying to get the viewings in.
For what? What strategy?
I was a sourcer.
For
I was
what?
deal sourcing then. So I was Southwest. So yeah, I was dealing across the board. So Devon, Dorset, Cornwall. I was primarily BRRs and refurb to HMO or SA, typically speaking. But there were people on my investor list that were looking for just buy-to-let to build portfolios. There were people looking for HMOs. So yeah, you name it. I had a couple of developments as well, didn't I? Some really cool developments.
Yeah, in my hometown.
Which, yeah, one of them was spectacular.
Mega deal.
There was that one. There was a fire station in Worcester as well, which was that. As I spoke to the development.
Do you think, from my perspective, I think you were going too big too soon? Do you see any of that now? And do you think if you change your tactic, you would have secured a rent a lot? Like, where's your mindset at now in terms of what you were doing back then? Because in my opinion, I think you were going too big of a deal as a newbie.
Okay. All my weekends, all my evenings, I'd finish work and I'd go out on viewings. In my lunch break, I'd go and do a viewing. So I was either working or I was doing property, and I was starting at 6 in the morning and I was finishing at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning around my job.
Yeah.
As well. And I think that put a lot of strain on the relationship I was in at the time.
Okay.
Because I was just tunnel vision. Nothing was going to stop me because I knew there was a lot of people out there. There was a lot of people in my personal life that were like, here's another little side hustle. We'll see how long this lasts. I knew there were people in the property world that they encouraged me. They backed me in public space, but I could see it in their body language and the way they were with me that they didn't believe I'd make it.
Yeah.
And this is what I do. I work with heads. I work with people. I can read people, and I know when it's not. I know when there's something not genuine.
Yeah.
And I think that compounded on top of the fact that I didn't believe in myself. Keeping that up for 10, 11 months. And in the meantime as well, I'm seeing a lot of newcomers in the property industry. All of you guys had got a deal or had got joint venture agreements or partnerships with fairly big names in the industry. So everybody's kind of hitting their success markers. And this was a huge thing for me because we're saying at this time, don't compare yourself to anybody else. You're on your journey, keep on your own journey. But there's 7 of us, everybody, I was the last, wasn't I?
Yeah, what's crazy is that the network on the Thursday night Zoom started with 14, and gradually people, would make their way through their training or mentorship, and they just drop off.
Half of them dropped out.
Yeah, half.
And I don't know what any of them are up to. I don't hear their names.
Nothing.
The people who remained in the 18
are consistent.
They were all bossing it still. Everybody's still in property, aren't they?
Yeah.
All of us. So the relationship came crumbling down because I put no time into that part of my life. I wasn't a very good partner at the time because I was just...
We met at Christmas time, didn't we? So I think I've reached out to you at that point to say, you know, how you doing?
You've always, yeah. I haven't heard from you. Where are you? What are you doing?
Yeah,
you came to my house.
Yeah, I did.
Come to your house.
Yeah.
You gave me a call.
Come to your house.
Oh yeah, I'm on the way to Weymouth. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm at home. And at that point, I think I was actually really unwell.
Yeah.
I think I was just about to go for a breakdown, reflectively, and I did. I had just a complete meltdown. Everything caved.
Yeah.
And I was just lost. And I thought at that time, typically, and this is a difficult thing for me to say because as doing what I do with the mindset coach and things like that, I'm all for guys talking about mental health. I'm all for people talking about mental health. And at that time, I didn't. I just closed down because I didn't want to the energy in that group was so high and everybody's absolutely bossing it. I didn't want to be that guy in the group that brings that down and sucks the energy out of everyone. So I just kind of took myself
shut down.
Yeah, I just put myself in a dark hole really. And in hindsight, that was a mistake. And if I hadn't have kind of shied away from that, I might have been here quicker.
But you shut down for a long time because I scaled my rent-to-rent business, and throughout that whole time, we did kind of stay in contact a little bit, but you weren't doing anything in property. Then I invited you to, I was going to a property meet, wasn't I? And I called you up and said, do you want to come with?
And then I ended up you had an open day.
Yeah, that's right.
In your Airbnb in Dorchester, and that was a turning point. That was a real big turning point.
That's kind of when we started to meet up more often, wasn't it? And talk more often.
Seeing you in that place.
Yeah.
Then I was like, you've got to get back on this. I think after when I came out of the breakdown.
What's crazy is this Airbnb was 15 minutes from his own hometown.
Yeah, like literally just up the road.
Did that make it real for you? Like,
yeah,
I could have got this deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's the other thing in Dorset is that unless you're in Bournemouth,
yeah,
you don't really have there's the successful people up here, and that's closed gates, and then there's everybody else, and you just make you either work in public services, you work in the hospitality industry, or you struggle. And so to be successful, to have one there, because when I was sourcing as well, I had so many really good deals that didn't sell.
Yeah.
And that kind of fed into the fact that it could have been me that wasn't working out. Yeah, a lot of doubt. And I think I fell into the trap. When I recovered from that kind of breakdown, I fell into the trap of complacency. I thought, I've changed jobs. I'm like, I've got a pretty decent job now. I'm on a fairly good salary. Things are going all right. Ticking along. As you do, you fall into the normal life again, you know, enjoying yourself at weekends.
Comfort zone.
Comfort zone. And I really fell into that trap again.
Got comfortable.
Yeah, and then out of the blue, like we say, I got a call from you inviting me to your Airbnb in Dorchester. You were having an open day and some of your mentees were coming down. And I met a couple of your mentees, and it was the energy in the room. It was the energy in the room straight away, being surrounded by this type of people again. The hunger, the people who want to be better, the people who want to work for themselves and make their lives for them and not somebody else. That's highly contagious.
It is.
Highly contagious. You can't be in a room full of people like that and not want to do it yourself, can you? And so that
was a turning point for you.
Yeah. After that, I was like, right, let's start looking at property again. Let's get into this.
Well, the only way is up. You kind of hit rock bottom, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then the only way is up. So you can either stay at rock bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think businesses fail. You've got to get comfortable with failing.
Yeah,
in order to learn. I don't like that.
I've never had a failed business. No, and I think that's quite common across
across failures.
No, across people like looking at starting a business is they read facts like 9 out of 10 businesses fail. It's like, okay, so my business has a very high percentage of failing. So why bother starting? I've never had a business fail.
Right. And actually, it's 100% going to fail if you never start it up.
Probably the stat comes from people just winging it.
Yeah, and we see that, especially in rent to rent. You get it. You hear it from the agents. You hear it from the landlords. You hear it from you know. you get a lot of people still winging it without the knowledge, without the professionalism to actually do it properly and go and get the training.
It's kind of a bit grey in between, isn't it? We were in and out, in and out.
Yeah, that was when we started talking fairly regularly again. We kind of started checking in. Again, last year, you know what? In a week's time, it was a year ago in a week, right?
Yeah.
I was possibly in one of the worst places. One of them. It's got to be one of my top 5 worst places in my head. And suddenly, I get a call on my phone. Or was it a message? I don't know, from you.
Yeah.
Saying, I'm having an event in the Oval in a month's time. I want you to talk.
Yeah.
At the event. I want you to be a guest speaker. Are you up for it? Everything in my head and my body said no.
Yeah.
No.
That's because you're in your comfort zone.
No, it's completely because I just wasn't in, like... I'm not the person you want trying to inspire people. And like, absolutely not, especially in the place I was in at that time.
Yeah.
It was hideous. And I thought, I don't know why. I have no idea, but I just said, yeah, that'd be great.
I wouldn't have let you say no.
I know you would. I know you would. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's possibly the reason. But I was like, yeah, I'd love to.
I can't say no to Kenny.
Yeah, I'd love to, mate. Thank you. I remember calling you a couple of days later and go, like, can we go for a coffee? And I said to you, like, why the fuck? Why me? You said there's something about you and your energy. I don't know what it is. No. There's something about you and your energy. I can just picture in my head one day you getting out at one of the business events, out of your Range Rover or whatever, and Range Rover, but yeah, out of your dream car. In your suit, dapper suit with your waistcoat and everything, and just strutting up to the door, with being a big I am, and being just ultra successful. And Conor McGregor did a thing with Chris Williams a little while ago, and he said, if you don't strive for success, if you don't carry on, if you don't push through the pain, if you give up on yourself, you're insulting and giving up on anybody who's ever believed in you. Yeah,
do you know what? That resonates with me
right?
As well. Yeah, it's like people, especially family members, look up to me. They've got a lot more respect for you than maybe you do yourself. And if you quit, you disappoint them.
Yeah,
that should hold you accountable enough to 100%. Step outside the comfort zone many 100%. Times. So okay, going on from that meeting then.
Yeah, and that's when I got back, and then we did the talk, we did the open day. So we did the event, and that was really cool. It was absolutely terrifying, and again,
you bossed it.
Huge imposter syndrome, and it's weird because when it comes to mindset, I know my stuff. I've been studying psychology and mindset stuff since I was about 13.
Yeah. So
I know how brains work. I know how to generate change in people. And thankfully, it worked. It was quite a big success, wasn't it? And it did change a lot of mindsets in the room, which I was really proud of. So
going on from that day, I said to you, I want you to be the mindset coach for Rise Up.
And every time you come at me with one of these, I thought, he started taking drugs or something. He's mental. Why me? Why me? But it is, and I'm eternally grateful. Because it's all these, you've never, always.
I won't let you give
whether overtly or covertly, you've always been there just nudging me and pushing me and dragging me through. And I really appreciate it, man. I really do. Right. Yeah, I owe this whole thing a lot to you, to be fair, as a friend and
no,
mentor.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, I really do mean it. I can see you being extremely successful. And it's like always stayed with me from the first day I met you. So I've always seen you in that light. It's like, Thank you. Pissed me off that you're not.
Yeah.
Or you don't believe in yourself. Not that you're not, it's like you don't believe in yourself when others do.
And it comes in ebbs and flows. Like right now I'm sat in this place and it's just starting to sink in that, I can get on board with that. Yeah. That's something I can relate with now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made me a mindset coach for Rise Up, and that's been incredible. And you've got some amazing mentees.
They are incredible.
And actually the program Rise Up, obviously I've been through a couple of other of the property networks, and they've all been brilliant for what they are. I've learned a hell of a lot from each one. Each one has made me evolve as a person. and each one, everything happens for a reason. I'm a really strong believer in everything happens for a reason, even if you don't know it at the time.
Yeah.
But each one of those kind of networks has got me a stepping stone to getting here. But Rise Up, Rise Up something else. Rise Up really is something else, and we get it from the mentees all the time. They tell us on the webinars and stuff, because it's that whole package. What I didn't have on my journey was somebody to help me get over myself. So I was taught all the knowledge. I was taught great knowledge on how to be a deal sourcer,
How to do it, how to implement
by some
the
incredible deal sourcers, and I was the implementation side of things, the logistics, the how-to ace. But one thing that you've included was me, and I'm a game changer. No, but genuinely, it was. And actually, I think because unless your head is in the right place, unless you've really got to want it in property, particularly in sourcing and rent-to-rent, because it's your start-off, it's your entry barrier. And I see all your mentees from start off to making it through my webinars, through my mindset webinars. I see them change as people. And I know I've certainly changed. You've changed a lot as a person, and 100%. The way your head works and everything since we started.
I think
there's
a massive mindset shift. So if you want to go from, this sounds patronising, like a normal person sat in their comfort zone, constantly got a cushion and duvet, your life's comfortable. Well, it might not be comfortable.
Chilling out with Netflix in the evening.
You're just never pushing yourself outside the comfort zone, and then you want to start a rent-to-rent business and be successful. The universe is going to test you. It's like, it doesn't just go, okay, so you want to be successful, you pay for training. They've paid for training. There's your success. It's like, no, the universe goes, okay, so you want to be successful, do you? You're going to have to learn consistency, discipline, and I'm going to test you over the next 6 months.
Routines.
And if you pass the test, then I'll give you a property. And that's, I believe, how it is. It's like, you don't just get success given to you, you're tested. And if you
That's
pass
what I call the sieve phase. I call it the sieve phase. And just like the 18, 14 people started on that group. 7 of us remain.
Yeah.
7 of us remain.
If that.
You know what? And it is that sieve phase, because this life isn't for everyone. And the first time round, it did break me. I sold 3 deals, bought myself out of debt.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. That gave me a new start. It was almost like, now I've dug myself out of the trench and I'm on even ground, I'm going to enjoy even ground for a bit.
Yeah.
And from even ground, you get comfortable, don't you?
You do.
You go out with your friends, you watch TV, you do the fun stuff.
Bit of disposable income.
Yeah.
That you might not have had before. You start, which I get. If you've suddenly just got back to comfortable, you're like, right, I just want to chill for a minute.
Just want to take the brakes off a sec. And that's dangerous, because especially the way the world has gone, the way this country has gone over the last year, and we've been saying it for years. I remember where it came from as well. Is that comfortable is no longer going to exist.
No.
You're not going to be able to be comfortable. You're going to have to pick a side. Do you want to be broke, or do you want to be well off? Do you want to be successful? And when I don't, it's important to say I don't deem success to be in relation directly to financial wealth. It's mindset, social wealth, physical wealth. All of these other factors to be successful. It's not just about the money in the bank. It helps. But you're not just going to be able to be comfortable.
No.
And we're seeing that. You see it in the papers all the time, how some other demographic of person's been hit by...
Yeah, £2,500 income a month, like after taxes, ain't going to cut it anymore.
No. You ain't going to be able to save anything with that.
The new interest rates, as soon as you remortgage and you go onto the new interest rates, your mortgage is going up by £500.
Easily.
You're amongst the rent-to-rent environment. You're inside of our network now, Rise Up. So how did you go about securing this deal?
So, again, every Tuesday, it's one of the highlights of my week doing my webinar for the mentees, because it's being in that room, and this is what we make an effort to meet quite regularly now, don't we?
Yeah.
Because it is, I remember learning when I first started out, the 5 people you spend the most time with, you're the 6th.
Yeah, you see 5 teenagers walking down the road, they'll all be in similar jackets.
Yeah. Walking in a similar way, listening to the same kind of music, all vaping the same kind of vapes, all throwing the same kind of rubbish on the floor. But it is, and environment is so huge. And being in the mentorship, being in the network, and giving my webinar every Tuesday, and just meeting these people who are overcoming barriers, and I remember jumping over all these hurdles when we started out. And they just kind of start to make that shift, and they're driven and they're high energy and they want to succeed. They want to get there, and they're going to keep going until they do. And that's it. Like I said earlier, it's contagious. So every week I get a top up of that, and then I speak to you and I get a top up. I speak to Ivan and Dan and I get top up every time.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing what the changing thing for me is that obviously, as a mindset coach, I mainly deal with the people just starting out on the program, and then my use to them kind of dissipates a bit, and they kind of evolve and don't need me. Don't stop showing up to my webinars. Seeing a lot of your mentees, like getting the deals and giving up their jobs.
Yeah.
Getting the deals, giving up the jobs, becoming financially independent, becoming financially free.
Well, look at this, right? So we're in Cardiff right now. This is this week's YouTube video. Just go down the feed. I drive all over the country every single week.
Last month
I don't see any other rent-to-rent mentorship actually get their mentees consistent deals week in, week out. But for as long as I can remember, there's been at least one mentee every week secure a deal. And people might be watching this thinking, yeah, right, Kenny, you got 50 mentees. Nope. We work with about 4 a month. That's it. Our success rate is massive.
Yeah.
It must be over 90%. I don't actually know the figure, but it won't be below 90%.
No.
Just I drive everywhere to meet them at their properties.
Yeah, and that's insane as well. Not very many others. There are a few other trainers that do that, but not very many. And you thrive off it.
I love it.
You get such a buzz out of doing these property visits. So this one was actually one of your mentees.
Yeah.
It was a Rise Up student.
Sold you the deal.
Yeah, Chris Govia.
The trust was already there though, wasn't it? Because you're in the network. It's like Kenny and his team have trained you.
Yeah.
Of course I'm going to trust
100%. And he was running this as an Airbnb before. I think he had tradies in it before I took it on. He's been phenomenal handing over this deal. He's been really cool to work with. Obviously worked with him before as a coach, and I met him. I think he came to your open day, didn't he? And he's been to a couple of other events. And a really nice guy, really easy to get along with. And I spoke to him at the open day. He really knew his stuff. And I saw it come up it was on the group chat, and there's 2 cities that really stand out in my head as being ones that I want an SA in, and one of them was Cardiff. Yeah. And I'm like,
I want that deal.
Deal for sale in Cardiff. And I was sat there and I thought, I haven't really got all the money I need to do this. I got most of it, but not all of it. Yeah. But this is Cardiff, and I thought, sod it. Same as with you, I was like, pull the pin, just stop thinking, take action. Stop thinking, because you'll talk yourself out. Jump on it.
I always say that. Your brain will start thinking of reasons to why not to do it.
Oh, and there were hundreds. And everything again in my head and my body just, no, don't do it. It's too risky. You screw yourself over. don't do it. It's going to go wrong. It's going to go bad for you. And I thought, nah, just message him. Like, if you don't take that deal, someone's going to.
So you collected the keys to this property. Walk us through the details of this property.
Okay, so it's $12.50 a month. Rent. I'm paying out.
Can you walk to the city centre?
7-8 minutes walk away that way.
Perfect.
City centre. 6 minutes walk that way is the music arena, where all the music events, the comedy nights. So you got Jules Holland, Becky Hill, Chasing Status. You got all these huge names playing there. 6 minutes walk that way.
Yeah, awesome.
12 minutes walk that way. You got Cardiff Castle, the other big music venue and historic place.
So, location amazing.
Principality's 12-minute walk with the rugby.
Amazing.
University Square just there. University Training Hospital, about 6-7 minutes walk that way. So even if we get another lockdown, for example, I'll do a deal. I'm going to get the NHS contract anyway for placement, doctors, nurses, visiting or training on rotation.
So how much do you think a month in utilities is going to cost?
Roughly around 200.
Okay, cool. And what about your profit margins?
Profit margins, there's a 2-bed in Cardiff just down the road that just made someone $4,500 last month. This place, according to Property Market Intel, this place is projected to make me anywhere between £36,000 and £42,000 over the next year.
Incredible. How many people can it sleep?
3 bedrooms. It's marketed as a 6 sleeper.
Yeah.
But I accidentally found out this old faithful.
Yeah.
is actually a sofa bed.
Perfect.
So I can actually get 8 if I want to.
Yeah, amazing.
Need to. It'd be maybe a tiny bit small for 8. It'd be a bit cramped, but I can.
If it can sleep 8 legally and, you know, the bedrooms allow, then why not? Perfect.
There's no reason why it can't sleep 8.
Yeah, that would do very, very nicely. How did this property look like when you took it on?
Not only was it was really dark, so he had this kind of horrible greyish, purplish, white, off-white kind of colour all through. So blue room there was half of it. The bottom half was all this disgusting pink. Top was duck ugly. There was an off-centered, really horrible dark green strip in the wall with white coving to cover the. That's gone. We've just made it all a lot brighter. The big hurdle I had with this place was that I was told there was an end of tenancy clean, and this is a big learning curve. Factor in time for that not to be done, because it took us nearly a day to deep clean the place and to get it to a point where we could start decorating.
Okay, so it needed repaint, cleaning.
Yeah, it's been a full refurb really.
How much does it cost you to furnish it?
I had £1,000 set aside to completely redecorate and kit it out.
Yeah, and
I've gone just over that.
Fair play, like you've done that on a good budget.
Yeah. I'm on 1130 something at the moment.
That's quite good for a 3-bed. You've done very, very well.
Yeah. There was some furnishings in already. Thank you, Chris. But most of it's fairly new.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I've had in mind in Cardiff, there's a lot of its location in Cardiff. You can get good locations and bad locations. Mine's kind of sitting in the middle of a really good location. The area isn't the most amazing, but it's a really good location in terms of convenience for guests.
Yeah.
So in the back of my head, I'm constantly thinking from the minute I stepped through the door to even past this interview, how can I get my nightly rate up?
Yeah.
If I do that, is that going to add a £5 onto the nightly rate? If I buy this new set of crockery, I can put a couple of quid on the nightly rate. You know, rather than having the old kind of scratched new stuff, I put new set in, that'll up my nightly rate. So everything in my head has been, how can I get that average rate up so I can get the maximum I can out of this property?
Okay, so how have you gone about doing the work?
Mate, it's been so long. There was the planning stage, and then I just started decorating everything. Really, it's tireless. I've done the whole thing by myself.
Yeah,
it's been absolutely by yourself.
No, completely on my own, like an absolute hero. No, I've had some really cool help. And I don't think without that help, I'd probably still be looking at unpainted walls, just going, what colour am I going to do that? What there's so much to do. So just even some of the bounce ideas of filling in the whiteboard every day, like, okay, what needs done? Where are we at? What are we going to do next? Keeping your spirits up. Keeping you driving forward. If my energy drops, George has picked it up. If hers has dropped, I'm like, right, come on, let's go, and you just kind of build off each other, you know.
So Chris, you've got quite a lot of experience in your mind right now, and obviously you're starting to implement it now. What advice would you give to anybody watching this YouTube video?
One piece of advice that I could give anybody is actually just do it. You'll sit there and you'll think, when you think, shall I do it, shall I not do it, your brain will automatically give you every reason in the universe not to do it. Because that's how we're programmed to survive. We're programmed to not look stupid. We're programmed not to fail. We're programmed to sit in our comfort zone and be comfortable. If it works for you, who am I to tell you to change your life? If that works for you, but I don't know very many people.
The thing is, they'll be watching this video, if they've made it to this far in the video, they're thinking differently to the majority.
Right.
And they're on a rent YouTube channel. Like,
there's 3 things with it. One is that I can guarantee you, with the life I've had, with the journey I've had in my life, if I can do this, anybody can do this. And there will be podcasts with you, there'll be my own videos and stuff coming out over the next coming months that will explain that in more detail. But I genuinely believe if I'm sat here in my B&B, anybody can do it if you want it enough. You really have to want it enough. You don't necessarily have to want the property. You don't necessarily have to want the money. You have to want, what's your why?
Yeah.
Have that glued into your head. Have that vision board. Have that reason why. Because, like you say, I dropped off. But I came back because I haven't done my why. I haven't achieved my why. And until I achieve my why, I won't stop. I won't stop. And when you've got that why and you really believe in that, you will keep going and you will achieve it. Second one is don't let yourself talk yourself out of it, because your brain will find every reason in the universe to create the safety nets to tell you all right. It's not true. You can do it, and you just got to take action. Something like that called Chris. Everything in my head was going, nah, it's too risky. It's too risky. I'm going to screw up. I'm not going to be able to do it. And I just made the call, and here I am. And it's going to work. I've done the figures.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. And the third one is get in the right environment. Get in the right environment. If you're not surrounding yourself with the right people, if you are not around people who build your energy, if you're with people who drain your energy all the time and can't do things and kind of make excuses and they don't, you need to be around people that are like, do it, go get it, go achieve, be successful, go make it. It's what you've done for me. You've dragged me through, you've pulled me through. And then I've got a few real close friends that have never given up on me, and they've always pushed me forward to achieve what I want to achieve.
Yeah, one of them's right there.
Yeah, one of them's right here now. One of them has dragged me through the trenches more times than I care to imagine. He's been amazing as well to get me to where I am now. But get in the right environment, that's essential.
100%, yeah. I mean, so guys, this has been Chris's very first Rent to Rent. I don't think you would have been here if you weren't part of the Rise Up community, like the coach, because you're surrounded by people doing rent to rent. You can literally firsthand see people join as newbies and then they get deals, and I think that's really helped you on your journey.
Yeah, I've missed family meals, I've missed like occasions with my little brother, I've missed things that I want to go to with my family and friends because I've been sat at work.
Yeah,
you know, and that's been doing my head in. It's been doing my head in because like my time's not mine. I'm trading my time for money all the time, and I was taught if you can't work out how to make money while you sleep, you work until you die.
there we go.